Hello everybody and welcome back to Emily's Upcycled Home, this bonus video as seen on Facebook. We're going to continue this series just so I bring all these good transformations to you guys here on YouTube. So on today's video we are going to grab some old sweaters. You can thrift them, you can look through your closet, grab your old pillows or new pillows from Target or wherever you're going to get it for all that polyfill, and get your twine ready. Also, we're gonna do some simple pumpkin crafts using these sweaters. Hope you guys all enjoy, but first please remember to subscribe to my channel and hit that thumbs up like button for me, just to help the algorithm push me out and to grow my channel. I appreciate you guys all for dropping in this Saturday bonus video as seen on Facebook. So let's go ahead and jump into our content. Have a good day, guys.
So for our pumpkins, we are just going to take apart the sleeve of our sweater here. I'm coming right into that armpit area and I'm going to trim off that whole sleeve here. Now you can use different parts of the sweater, but I think the sleeve is the easiest part for me. So that's what I'm going to fill. So you see, this is the end that we are going to flip inside out, and we are going to use that end there, just tying a double knot there, and then flip that sleeve back to the right side with all that beautiful knitted detailing. For your polyfill, you want to go ahead and separate it and fluff it out before you add it into your pillow. And you are just going to simply layer in your polyfill, working in that shape with your hands to form your pumpkin. And I'm just coming in and I'm just going to use my hands, like I said, to really be aggressive in shaping that pumpkin. And when you get it as full as you want, you just come back in with your twine, tie that in a double knot again, trim off the excess, and then we'll continue on with making our pleats. Now I cut my sweater here because I am going to use that piece of the top sweater there for our stem, so make sure you have that length on there. But first we're going to come in and make our sweater pleats. I added a little dab of glue, and then I'm just wrapping my rope around it, and I am going to make in our pleats. You can make as many pleats as you want. I am not cutting my rope here. I am just going round and round and round, and all the imperfections at the top I will go ahead and cover when we embellish our piece. Now I just come in making those pleats, and you want it a little bit tight so those pleats form. And then when you get to the end, you want to go ahead and hot glue that piece down. My rope was a little short here, so I did my best in hot gluing that. I am also going to turn it over and hot glue the base of the piece, and then with a little scrap piece of my fabric, I am going to cover up that piece, giving it extra support to hold all those ropes in place and cover up all the layers look down there. Go ahead and work with your pleats, forming them how you want here. And then you come in with your rope and you're just going to twist around that top excess sweater part until you get a thick stem for your pumpkin. Once you have it the length you want, you can go ahead and finish it off with some hot glue. And then I bring in my scissors and I trim off all the excess on the top to make it a little stump. Now, as far as covering the top, I come in with hot glue, layer up on the top, and then I go round and round like a little curly Q on the top, hitting that rope into the top of our stem, covering up all that sweater. Trim off your excess, and then you are complete with your pumpkin here. Now it's time to embellish it, you guys. So I'm just going to come in with a variety of different greenery that I found in my stash, trying to use this up. So I come in with some faded out flower greenery, leaves, some stems, some different shades of green. Then I come in with a coffee stained lace bow, add that to the top as well. All these pieces I am attaching with hot glue, and then I come in and add a vintage button. Now I want a tag, so I'm just taking a strip of scrap music sheet paper, adding it to cardstock, and then I'm just going to trim up my little labels to the size I want. And I want it aged, so I will also come in with some distress inks and age up all the edges of our tag. And I chose a word to put on it and just handwritten the word on our tag, and then glued that to the center. Now I did add a little bit of floral wire, so I'm making some little curly cues on the top, and then I repeat the process for the second sweater, which is that furry sweater that I had, and it gave my washing machine a big old mess, so then I stopped wearing it, stopped using it. But we are going to repeat those steps with the polyfill, filling it up to the max and shaping our pumpkin, coming back in with those ropes and making our pleats, adding our cute little stem and taking off all that excess, and then come in to embellish the sweater as well. Now this one I do a little bit simpler, just adding a few stems of greenery and a little bit of pine cones. I'm not sure, and I would come in also with the tag and add that little lace coffee dyed bow at the top. And then also I picked a word that the people who watch me live help pick out, and I just wrote that in, and I'm using just a black paint pen here just to write out the words, and then I just hot glue that onto our pumpkin, and we are complete with this cute pumpkin here. I made 2 of each pumpkin, so if you guys like this project, I hope you guys go look in your closet, see if there's an old sweater you don't like, so you can get pumpkins like these. For our next project, we did some mini signs and turned them into some pumpkins. So I have these mini signs here that I got once again from my mystery box. We pulled them out of our box here, and we are going to transform them using some Dixie Belle Sweet Pickens milk paint here. And if you haven't used milk paint, that's a 1-to-1 ratio of water to powder. I just mixed a little bit up there, so I went ahead and did 2 more scoops of it. So if I add 2 scoops here, I add 2 more scoops of water as well. Stir that up thoroughly. You want to let that sit for a little bit so the paint can thicken up as well. And I am just going to add this white paint just to give my little squares here a solid look and have our napkin that we will come in with shortly pop on our piece. Now I do the second one as well, coating all sides of our little pieces, and I come in with my heat gun to heat and dry that up.
Johnny used to work on the job strike, down on his leg.
And of course on my lives there's a little singing break, so I just dip my finger here in some Mod Podge to separate my napkins, because when you work with napkins you do want to come down to that 1 ply here so that it's a thin layer that your Mod Podge sticks to. I add a little Mod Podge into my cup here, and this is just your standard Mod Podge you get from Target, Walmart, whatever craft store. And then I go ahead and apply my chosen napkin here. And this is a beautiful green floral napkin with a white background. And then I go ahead and as well piece together that napkin for all the sides and trim it up to where I want it trimmed. I go ahead and rip some of the edges off and come back in and apply my Mod Podge all over those edges and on top, giving this a second layer of that Mod Podge to thoroughly seal in that paper. I do come in with a little bit more heat to set and adhere that paper in, and then we take our leftover milk paint here and we add it to our little spindle and add some heat to provide some crackle effect here. I am going to come in and hit the back of our little sign here with the white, and then with some hot glue I go ahead and attach our spindle there. I did come in with a little bit of sandpaper and cleaned up all the edges. I didn't have that part in there. And then we come in with some greenery and other elements to embellish our little pumpkins. There's a little piece with the greenery here. I just using hot glue to add that. I come in with a little piece of pine cone just to bring in some brown and break up all the green on this piece. I will go ahead and attach that with hot glue. And then lastly, I come in with a little thin brown ribbon and add a little bow to the top. And I think that just adds the perfect touch of brown and darkness to it and breaking up that green. And then we come in with the new ILD release transfer pack here. I'll put that up at the end or on the bottom here for you guys. And I'm just going to pick out a little bit of wording, scientific wording of some flowers, and I'm going to rub on those transfers to the base of the piece. And then our cute little pumpkins are finished. For our next pumpkin project, we are coming in with these white little pumpkins that I had in my stash. I believe they're from Hobby Lobby, and we are going to decoupage using these beautiful blue napkins here. Now, I'm just going to come in with regular Mod Podge, but like any napkin, you want to come down to that one ply, releasing the backing from all the napkins, and use the first ply of napkin that has the image. Coming in with some regular Mod Podge here, and then we are just going to layer and add our image onto our pumpkins, smoothing them out as I layer with my fingers. But first, let's go ahead and cut out our image. You can also use water and a brush to get as close to the image as you want and do the ripping method, but I tend to be more of a cutter. I'll go ahead and use my fingers to get into those pleats of our pumpkins. Once again, just layering up that Mod Podge, coming in with your image of your napkin and just adding that decoupage layering on top as well. Gently just placing that napkin around and layering our image. And this is what we got so far. And I'm not one that's worried about wrinkles and any of that stuff. I get it as smooth as I can. But if I do have a little bit of wrinkles, you can go ahead and smooth out those out with an iron if you have it, or add a heating tool to it. But for me, I don't really mind the wrinkles. It adds a little something to the piece here. Just going to continue that process with all three of our pumpkins, adding that heat to really set in that napkin here. Not putting it too close because our pumpkins are a little plastic here. And then I'm coming in with just this little wood stem here that actually came from another like faux floral pick I had. So I save everything, and I'm just going to take out the regular pumpkin stem that was in there and add our little wood design pumpkin stem, putting a little bit of a rustic feel onto each of the pumpkins. Then we'll go ahead and layer them up with some greenery and finish them off with a cute little lace bow. And of course, you can't have the little cottage pumpkins without a button. And here's the finished look.
So on today's video, we are going to be using the American Tile stamp by ILD. We're going to come in with some rustic pumpkins here. We're going to create a very farmhousey, cottagey farmhouse look with our pumpkins today. So I hope you guys enjoy that. I'm coming in. I cut 3 very, very, very rustic blocks, you guys. I left all the imperfections in them. I sanded them just slightly, just to get off the rough edges. I think even one has a little nail in there that we're gonna be embellishing with these blocks. And I'm coming in with milk paint. You guys, this is actually Sweet Pickins milk paint that I get from my good friend Andrea at the Cutest Little Thing. So if you want milk paint, if you want this Sweet Pickins, go ahead and hit her up, message her on her. We are going to stir this up, and remember, it's a 1-to-1 ratio of paint to water. Ooh, I hope I have enough, you guys. I made a mess. We're gonna do 1 scoop of paint and then 1 scoop of, and then you wanna stir this up really well, you guys. Dissolve all that powder form, and you want to go ahead and set it aside for a little. Now you see See how watery it is, and once we set it aside, we're going to, it's going to thicken up. Chunky pieces of scrap wood in my pile. So I'm gonna go ahead and use these for our top stems here. We're gonna make some chunky tops. And thanks for joining me today. How are you doing, my friend? So remember, you don't want to pick these up by the stems. You want to pick them up by the base. I'm just going to glue these on the 14th at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm kind of advertising that. And so we're going to do some very farmhousey, chippy pumpkins look. So I got my heat gun here too, because you want to really activate that paint. The heat gets applied to the milk paint. It really starts to crackle. The only thing I'm concerned with, you guys, this time is this wood is very dry, so the milk paint might just absorb it, so we might not get a lot of crackle. So I'm gonna come in with a little bit of so just to help this, because this is very porous and very dry, I'm gonna come in with a candle wax and just kind of like hit up all the wood and see how it does. Not that thick yet, but I'm just gonna go for it, you guys. And I'm not a nice, neat person when it comes to my milk paint. I just like blob it on, layer it up, drippy it up, all that good jazz. That texture. But the more layers you build, the more heat you apply, usually is when you get lots of that texture. And I'm just gonna hit the underneath once, just to give it a full coverage look here. I think 2 layers is good. Like a printing store. And I know certain printing stores, maybe like Office Depot, I think they'll print out stuff for you on rice paper too. So this is just the piece I have. You see it's a little bit thicker. And I'm going to stamp some of this mercantile stamps here from IOD onto this piece, just using some black, maybe not black ink, you guys. Oxidized distress ink. I don't know if that'll work. Maybe we can go brown instead of black. See what it gives us, and if not, I'm gonna have to go search again, you guys. I'm just gonna stamp it as is. It's on here. I don't want that coarse. And heat sip this real quick, and then I'll show you guys. Black set. So there it is on my rice paper. I'm gonna go ahead and rip so that we have this feathered edge. I don't really come in with water. I just rip with my hand, holding it. And we'll see how much we can get of this image onto our block. Fingers. Yeah, it tears easily, but I like how it melts into the piece a little bit easier. But there it is. Come in with our sandpaper and kind of trim it up. So I am gonna probably cut up greenery and stuff to it, so I think it'll work out. I'm being very messy. And because sometimes things don't stand out. They kind of blend into the background, but once you hit those edges, you can see the shape of your piece.
So we have reached the end of our video. Please hit that subscribe button on your way out. And if you want to shop any IOD Fusion or Dixie Belle products, that affiliate link will be down in the description. Follow me on Facebook for more DIY crafts. Hit me up over on Whatnot to shop with me, link in the description as well. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all on the next one. Bye, friends.